All right, I had to do a recording on this, and it's just for those who are living on a rock. Embittered MP George Wright, or George Wrong, as many people like to say, has officially resigned. And yeah, with that obvious news coming out now, do you think that okay, chalk up. Okay, we have a notch on the accountability belt. I mean, like we've scored a victory. Morality has won out. Yes and no. No. Yes, I mean it's good that George Wright has resigned and all due to mounting public pressure that's been on him. Is it actually an overall victory? Not even, unfortunately. One being, yeah, it is. While we're not unhappy to see the back of him. All right, as it should have. To me, the thing is that when that video dropped, where he basically, without even saying it, admitted that, hey, I'm the one that put hands on on my partner, who refused to press charges after the fact, unsurprisingly. In fact, that it took like many weeks, like over um, month for this to actually happen. It shows that they right wasn't doing that because hey, I actually felt any moral obligation to do that. You're just doing it because hey, I just need that. At this point, pretty much, I realize that I have my back's against the wall, and the people are banging that proverbial drum louder and louder for him to actually vacate his seat and go about his business. So between him, his party, and even some other people of important influence, all of them basically said, yeah, just step down and resign. I mean, so it was basically either he stay if he refused to resign, the proverbial drum would have been banging louder, and he would have been a huge liability to the party, just like Bruce Golding with the Dudders thing, or even with Rural Reed and all the mixed countries mixed up. Even Andrew Wheatley, with that Petrojam scandal, you haven't really seen or heard much about Andrew Wheatley. All of them pretty much slipped, fading into the background, and have basically made themselves pretty much persona non grata at this point, so to speak. So, right, and all of them realize, okay, that we're just at this point either I can just resign it gracefully or just continue to be an anchor or a dead weight to the party. And bear in mind that the party, his own same party, didn't want him to resign because, as I've said before in my previous video on George Wright, is that the principle of unaccountability, that immunity from law, that's way more important to them than actual him actually being held, his feet being held to the fire, because they know that if this trend continues, that hey, this is going to lead to a lot of other MPs in both parties overall. They're going to be face that same proverbial firing squad, because once that snowball effect starts, there's no stopping it, no matter what. Especially when it gains momentum. And all them are basically said, we'll be damned if this is going to be a regular habit that that we're going to get actually going to be held accountable for action. So yeah, so that was the dilemma. So, but the thing is that with Wright resigning, they basically said, okay, we dodged a bullet. But at the end of the day, is that this still is a blemish on the ruling party, because the fact that you were basically getting cover. And for those who are saying that, oh, there are no laws that can remove an MP no matter what it does, that's because they don't want to remove that law. They don't want to amend that law. They basically didn't want to do it. So anyone who's going to come with that nonsense that hey, or if they wanted to remove Wright, they couldn't. No, they just didn't want to remove Wright because they could have given him a nice little severance package on the side and said, look, dude, we know where this is heading. Just step aside, all right. And I'm pretty sure that Wright, even if as stubborn as fans want to be, even he'd have enough sense to say, you know what, I'm still go. I just take this little golden parachute that they're giving to me once they kick me off that proverbial plane. I'll still have a soft line and I'll still go about my business. And he'd have been reasonable enough to take it. I assume so, but it was just a very bad look for the current party in power. And but the thing is, again, they'd rather take that bad publicity rather than it going to put direction where people are on where their MPs and their ilk are going to start being punished according to their actions. No, yeah, well, I say that again symbolically. This is a good thing that Because what it does, what the good thing about this is shows that Jamaican people, when we really want to put our foot down on bad behavior, we will do it. We will get results. I mean, when we say that nope, enough is enough. You cannot do that. You cannot just feel that you can do whatever you want, and then we're supposed to take that. No, Jamaica, a lot of Jamaican people in the public eye, a lot of German people who have morals and backbones and enough sense said, hey, we kept the pressure up. We said we want Wright gone. No, better we want Wright to be criminally charged. Since that didn't happen, we want him out of office. And Wright basically said, okay, he basically said that okay, going to be fighting an uphill battle. There's going to be more public pressure for me to get out of the office. So when okay, there's just knowing to he knew where the wind was blowing, so to speak. And I will give credit to a lot of people, whether on an individual level and even in some circles who wanted right to go. That hey, we show what we can do when we really want justice and accountability. Now the downside of this, and again, people you should not be popping the popping the champagne. We shouldn't be chalking this up as a win. Is because yeah, even though Wright is gone, fortunately, Wright is still going to be all right. Unfortunately, because Wright, all that means for Wright is that Wright is just basically going to be is just going to be going about this just like Bruce Golding did, just like Andrew Wheatley, just like Rule Reader going with their business. Wright may have lost his face, he may have been publicly embarrassed. I mean but all that was for inconvenience for him. All that meant was that hey, all right, I may have lost a nice little cushy gig as a politician, but end of the day is I have my freedom. I can go about my business and in the days I can still eat the food because you best believe that the GLP are still going to give cake right off on the side. That they're still going to make sure that he has a nice little cushy job somewhere else, another job position where he can eat the food, like where he all right, and like I said, like he at the end of the day, as I said, like he's not going to face any jail time, and the sickening part about this, unfortunately, is that Wright will still have his dirtbag supporters with his own constituency. Unfortunately, some of the people in his own church. 'Cause I think there's this so-called bishop. I do not call this man a bishop. He's just basically those ones proverbial wolves in sheep's clothing and on holy grounds. Even that bishop who said that he's going to quit the JLP party if Wright goes, and I'm pretty sure that he's tendered in his resignation slip and gotten packed his proverbial suitcases and headed out the door to join Wright wherever Wright is ending up. So Wright overall, you have to understand, Wright still gets to go home to that nice house in that gated community that he most likely lives in. Wright still has food on the table. Wright still has money in his pocket. Wright will still have a roof overhead in that nice house. And Wright, unfortunately, will be making more money than most other Jamaicans will see in their lifetime. So Wright, at the end of the day, is that yeah, he lost the battle. He did not win the war because he still gets his livelihood, unfortunately. And thing to also bear in mind, as I said, is that even the people that were championing for Wright to resign, and I'm not talking about ordinary Jamaicans, because there are various other people across the spectrum that wanted Wright to Wright to be out of office. I mean, people in the private sector, people in various other politicians on the other side, and even some politicians, some people who support the GLP, who have high prominence. All of them basically wanted Wright gone, but don't fool yourself into thinking that these people were doing because out of a sense of moral obligation. All right, they don't know these people were doing because hey, we that these people are bastions of morality, that these people or pure angels, pure as a wind-driven snow himself compared to right. In fact, many of these same people all across the spectrum, all of them are just as bad or even worse than Wright. Because we all know that Wright is not the only MP who's putting hands on his or her partner. Many of these other people the differences where Wright is concerned, many people have not been caught because many of them, what their thing is that they're pretty much smart enough to do that abuse on the down low or behind closed doors, not in the open. Because Wright, his mistake was where they're concerned is that you're dumb enough to get caught out in the open abusing your partner. I mean, if you're right, and I'm best believe that this is not the first time Wright and this lady have gotten physical. I'm pretty sure that it's been behind closed doors. But when he did outside in the open where he could have been video videotaped, yeah, that is where he messed up. To them, as I said, that they didn't care that he's an abuser. They just care that okay, you got sloppy, sloppy with your abusing, all right, and that was the problem because and they realized that okay, if JLP, remember JLP has had a reputation, unfortunately, for harboring certain morally questionable individuals that I could be up until 12 in the morning naming associated with their brands, which they soft peddle around dealing with. Again, Bruce with the going with the Dodas thing and all the other stuff. But the thing is though is that fact that you have an abuser, a guy who puts his hands on women. Uh, yeah, that was basically a bridge too far for them. That they basically said that there's no way that we could really amend or go around that though. So like we had to get rid of Wright though. I mean, even if he was a somewhat a valuable asset to the party, he needs to go. I mean, that's the only reason why a lot of these people in certain places wanted Wright gone because they're that Wright was a dead weight that they need to be rid of. And the thing is, his only mistake was that he was dominant. He got caught in the open. Or if he had been caught, and there have been rumors, allegations that he's an abuser. All this would have been swept under the rug, and basically, this wouldn't even have been a public discussion, right? Because they would have said, okay, yeah, there's just rumors, no substantial proof to it. Unlike the thing with Dayton Campbell in the PMP, where he is basically going, if his proverbial feet are being put to the fire over these allegations with these underage females. I mean, like unlike Wright, there's no public proof, no physical evidence that this happened. Whether that is true, we don't know. If it's true, no surprise there. But these are just allegations. But the thing is that with Dayton Campbell, you may suffer some public embarrassment. You suffer some media heartburn, so to speak. But likely when this all dies down, that Dayton Campbell is going to be going about his business, or still, and he probably won't have to resign, unlike George Wright, of course. So that is basically the good and bad about George Wright resigning. Is that didn't do Wright resigning? Okay, that's a symbolic victory. Unfortunately, Wright is basically still going to be able to eat her food. He's not going to really suffer anything or any other consequences outside of having forced to give up his seat, though, because his party is still going to be throwing him a lifeline. Maybe on the side when people are not looking, but as I said, he still gets to walk and go about his business with no consequences to him. I mean, but the thing is, as I said, it's good that at least it shows that when enough people on a public level want justice and accountability to happen, it can happen. All right, despite the nature of Jamaican society and the culture, we can have people who can push back, but that has to be on a consistent basis. And that's how I think of the George Wright thing. Yeah, it's a Pyrrhic victory at best. I mean, he may have lost a cushy job in Parliament, but end of the day is that Wright is not going to be he's not going to be living off the streets anytime soon. Like his family, presuming he has any children or anything, all of them are still going to have money in their account, and they're still going to just be able to go about his business. And like I said, he still have support from some people's constituency because there are enough depraved and immorally indifferent people who think that treat Wright as the aggrieved party, that he's the true victim in all of this. And I wouldn't be surprised if that woman that he put hands on, I think her name is Singh, I do not remember her name. I wouldn't be surprised if she is going to be one of those people that is going to be supporting him and going to be coming up publicly defending him and saying that, oh, even though he put hands on me, that he hit me with a stool, that okay, I've forgiven him, he suffered enough, We need to lay off of him. All right, Wright doesn't deserve to be resigned though. He's like he's not the real bad guy and so on. And then which will then go into him what kind of bad childhood he had and what misfortunes he may have experienced in his personal life, and then to make him look sympathetic. Because I'm pretty sure that there are going to be people that are going to go on this sympathy tour for this guy, just and basically cry that he suffered a personal that he was that the people who people who are fighting him down are the true villains. Right is the victim here. Everybody else who's calling him up for what he did, these are the true bad guys. Look for that to happen. And I'd say about starting this weekend to next week that you're going to hear the right sympathizers start banging that drum loudly, and sadly, unfortunately, it's likely that that woman that he put hands on in that video is going to be amongst that number of people who are going to be banging the drum, the crying how much a misunderstood victim George Wright is. Look for that to happen, but. Anyways, this is all I have to say on this recording. So it's for State of Jamaica and the Caribbean. Check out my YouTube page, Real Thoughts and Miles, Miles Productions, and Miles Goose and Farron. All right.